If the Women's League was established to challenge patriarchy in society and in the political system, well, Winnie Madikizela-Mandela came to actually be the personification of that. She came to personify that in the struggles, in the way that she took on patriarchy in society, and basically just stared down the face of the system, the apartheid system, but also the system of patriarchy in society, and challenged it. And of course, she was the president of the ANC Women's League. She was first elected in 1993 and then re-elected in 1997. And yesterday there was a bit of reflection on the part of the ANC Women's League when they visited the home of the late Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. The words of ANC Women's League President Bathabile Dlamini saying that we could have had Winnie Madikizela-Mandela as president, but at the time we were not bold enough. We had not been emboldened enough to actually push really hard to have a woman president. You'll know, of course, that in last year's elective conference, the ANC Women's League tried unsuccessfully to get Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma to become the party's first woman president and potentially the country's first woman president. Take a listen to what Bathabile Dlamini said yesterday about the contribution in the struggle of women that has been made by Winnie Madikizela-Mandela.
Wherever we are, Masiama representatives of women, Sibe, the real representatives of women. And we must always be strong. Abantu bayamanga lukuthi why some of us are strong. It is because we learned from Umamwini. Ukuthi you must never allow anyone to push you down. Yes. You must never allow anyone to drive your agenda. Yes. You must know your agenda and you must be focused.
All right, Thulasizwe, that's Bathabile Dlamini. I want you to set up the next piece of sound and audio for me. Also a moving tribute paid by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Baleka Mbete.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeremy. The words there used by Bathabile Dlamini, never allow anyone to push you down. I can tell you, if these streets of Soweto could talk, they would attest to that spirit of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela, because where we are standing is at the Hector Peterson Memorial, which is just across from where this procession by the Women's League will start from, which is Uncle Tom's Hall. You talk about what the leaders of various institutions in society have been saying. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Baleka Mbete, talking yesterday and basically saying that it is okay to cry. It is okay to express that sadness and grief at the loss of this titan of the struggle against apartheid. Take a listen to what she said yesterday.
Nothing wrong with crying, and in fact we must allow ourselves to cry. We must have permission to cry, because it's also healing to cry. We have lost a great person.
And throughout the day, Thulasizwe, and I imagine in coming hours, more and more high-profile politicians, celebrities, even sports people, we were told a little earlier today, arriving at the House. But just set the procession up for us, which I understand is due to begin at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and using candles. It's going to, as I also mentioned, it will be, from an image point of view, very powerful, won't it?
Sure. It will be very powerful, Jeremy. In fact, yesterday, Tokyo Sehwale paid what was, in my view at least, one of the most honest reflections on the life of Winnie Madikizela-Mandela. And interestingly, the analogy that he chose to use was to say that she was a candle that was lashed by all sorts of winds, but was never blown out. Despite those winds, it was never blown out. And if we were to take that analogy a bit further and say perhaps her flame has gone out now in terms of her life, but perhaps the flame that candle lit in you know, in the fire in many of the women in society will continue to burn on. And I suspect that that symbolism is not lost to the leadership of the ANC Women's League. The procession itself will go down Khumalo Street here in Orlando West, and it'll be one of those. I mean, it will revoke a lot of, it will invoke rather a lot of emotions and memories, because, as I said, this is some of the parts of Soweto where scenes such as the Soweto uprisings played themselves out in 1976, and people like Winnie Madikizela-Mandela themselves playing a critical role on that day as the pupils around Soweto found themselves staring down the barrel of the gun of the apartheid system and wanting to connect with someone and wanting to consult with someone seeking refuge. Women like Winnie Madikizela-Mandela were some of the people that they went to, as well, of course, as people as Albertina Sisulu, the late Albertina Sisulu.